Hi Pisces, welcome to your love reading for July 2018. This is Elizabeth from channeledguidance.com. Okay, so I've already shuffled the decks and you did have two jumping cards from this deck. The first card that jumped for you is the Four of Pentacles. So for some of you, this can be holding on really tight to a relationship. This can also be someone that is refusing change, somebody that is not allowing the relationship to move forward. The other card that jumped is the Ace of Pentacles. This does represent new beginnings. This can be a new love, new opportunities. This is unexpected blessings in your love life. Now I also want to show you what's at the bottom of the decks. You have the Queen of Cups, which could be your energy as a water sign, but can also be your partner if they are either a Pisces or Cancer or Scorpio. At the bottom of this deck, you have the Page of Wands, which does represent good news, but it could also represent something exciting, some type of exciting change coming up in your love life. Okay, so these were just jumping cards. I'm going to put them back, and let's start by getting 9 cards for you. This is the love reading for the sign of Pisces for July 2018. You have the Six of Swords. Love reading for the sign of Pisces. 9 of Swords. Love reading for the sign of Pisces. The World. Love reading for the sign of Pisces. 7 of Swords. Love reading for the sign of Pisces. 7 of Cups. Love reading for the sign of Pisces. 7 of Pentacles. Love reading for the sign of Pisces. Page of Swords. Love reading for the sign of Pisces. Chariot. Love reading for the sign of Pisces. Ace of Swords. Okay, what's the most important message that Pisces needs to hear for July 2018? And you have the Three of Swords. So the Three of Swords, this is the breakup card, the divorce card. It could also be that you're hurting. It could be that you've had a really bad argument, disagreement, or you're separated from the person that you love. And I'm noticing right now, even before I get into the reading, that you have a lot of Swords cards. You have, well, the main energy is a Swords card, 3 of Swords, 6 of Swords, 9 of Swords, 7 of Swords, Page of Swords, and the Ace of Swords. All the swords are really difficult energy. So I feel like there's something very challenging going on around you. This is the second time that I do this reading, and before you had the Devil pop up in the other reading in a kind of an interesting way. So I feel like there's something challenging you. I feel like that you have a lot going on in your head. You also have, let me just start with the first row. In the first row, you have the Nine of Swords, which, is the ultimate card of anxiety and worrying. This is the Nightmare card. Now, the positive news is that this energy around it is telling me that you're moving away from this. The Six of Swords means that whatever's going on in your love life that has you really, freaking out and just worrying, imagining the worst. Maybe you're imagining they're going to leave, or they're cheating, or they don't really care. You're moving away from this. The Six of Swords means you're moving towards a much healthier energy. And then you have the World, which, this is a card of endings. This is a major arcana, means that it's time for a new cycle in your love life. And I feel like for some of you, it's hard to say because it's a general reading that's meant for thousands of people. But I feel like for some of you, it could be that you've been really, struggling in a relationship, and maybe you're working things out. You're moving towards a much healthier phase, because this is all about a phase right here. You're moving towards a new cycle in your love life. And for some of you, it could be that you're working it out. You're working, out your differences. But for some of you, it could be that, it's time to move on from this relationship that keeps breaking your heart with the Three of Swords. Because, this is the main energy. I feel like for some of you, it's just time for a new cycle. So if you've been in a relationship where it's like one painful thing after another, or cheating, over and over and over, lies over and over, and you're always in a state of anxiety here, you have energies that it's time to move on. It could be, again, hard to say in a general reading, but it could also be that, it's time to maybe trust your partner, if you feel you can do that, if they're really deserving of that. Some of you may be just moving on to the next chapter in your relationship. Now, the second row here, you have the Seven of Swords, the Seven of Cups, and the Seven of Pentacles. So you have all sevens here. These are, kind of challenging as well. You have the Seven of Swords. This is, one of those red flag energies, like the Five of Swords. This card can represent deceit. But honestly, you know, the strongest feeling that I get about it, I mean, it can be, let me just go back here. It can be that, you know, it can be that somebody was unfaithful in a relationship because, I mean, the main energy is the Three of Swords, the breakup card, the divorce card. So it could be that there was cheating, and it could be, you know, that this has you really confused. Maybe you're confused because maybe you don't know if somebody was unfaithful, or maybe you're the one. Maybe it's thinking of being unfaithful. There is this message to pause with the Seven of Pentacles. This is about stopping and really, you know, weigh your options. Think about things very carefully. There's confusion here. So this could be about someone being unfaithful, but it could also be with the Seven of Swords. This can also be that, you know, that you're not seeing things clearly. Same energy as the Seven of Cups. You're really emotional. You're lost. You're confused. And with the Seven of Swords, you could be your own worst enemy. There's something that you don't want to see. And the Seven of Pentacles is urging you to see that. This is telling you to stop before making a major decision. Really review everything that's happened in your love life. What's been going on with your partner? How do you feel about them? How do they feel about you? This is telling you to stop. Stop, because you're confused right now. And I feel like this has been coming up for all the signs. There's something going on where things are not what they seem. I think I'm going to stop putting on the little titles that I put when I put up the reading, because they're all going to say the same thing. I feel like you need to stop. Whatever it is that's going on that has you really confused, stop and think very carefully. Again, Pisces is a very intuitive sign. So if someone's pulling something on you, you will know. You will know. But you will also know if it's time to move on. Okay. So the last row here, you have the Page of Swords, the Chariot, and the Ace of Swords. So it's interesting that right here, the Seven of Swords is about possibly dishonesty. And this card is all about honesty. So if somebody has lied to you in any way, I feel like the truth will come out. The Page of Swords is honest communication. And then over here, just jumping over here, you have the Ace of Swords, which represents enlightenment. Like, you know, finally knowing, finally seeing things clearly. Because there's something going on where you had not been seeing things clearly. It could be that, you know, there could be a revelation in your love life, or maybe you find out maybe something that your partner did, or maybe something that you did. Again, you know, there's really challenging energy, and for some of you, you could be choosing to go your separate ways. But I mean, with the Three of Swords, it could also just be a really, you know, strong disagreement, or even time apart. It doesn't have to be a breakup or a divorce. But I feel like, you know, this is telling you what you need to know. There has to be honesty. The truth has to come out. It has to come out. If it comes out, you have the Chariot in between these two cards. The Chariot does represent victory. This is movement in your relationship. This means that you will continue to grow and move forward. Maybe you want to move towards marriage or something more committed. There has to be honesty. It can even be that you have to be honest with your partner about what you want. So if it's been a casual relationship or just getting to know each other, you have to let them know maybe what you're looking for. There's some strange energy for the sign of Pisces in this reading. I just feel like there's a lot in your mind with all these swords cards. I feel, you know, there's something that has you really confused, but you have the energy here where you can figure things out with the Ace of Swords. You can figure out what it is that has been causing you a lot of anxiety with the Nine of Swords being up there. I feel like, you know, whatever it is, whether it's your partner coming clean and telling you the truth, or you being completely honest with your partner, I feel there's just confusion around this reading. There's confusion, but then it's like the truth comes out. But I do feel like you have to pause with the Seven of Pentacles and look at things very carefully. Maybe there's something you don't want to see. It's time for a new cycle. Okay, let's get a few more cards from the same deck and see what the rest of the message is. What other message is there for the sign of Pisces for July? Nine of Pentacles. What other message is there for the sign of Pisces? Ten of Wands. The Moon. Okay, now the Moon, especially right next to the Seven of Cups, both of these cards, actually, the Moon and the, sorry, not the Seven of Cups, the Seven of Swords, actually all three of them. Let me just start here, because I mean, this is when I saw this, I was like, okay, this is telling us more. The Moon does represent that someone's really emotional. And, you know, you do have the Seven of Cups right next to it, which is a message of being really emotional, lost, and confused. you may not be seeing things clearly right now. So maybe that's why there's this message to pause and just kind of wait a bit. It could be that there's just, a lot of fears going on in your head. The moon is saying that you're really emotional, but the moon also represents deceit, and you already have deceit over here. So, it could be, you need to, since this is a general reading, you need to ask yourself, what is this deceit? Is it coming from my partner? Is it coming from me? Is it something that I don't want to admit something to myself? It could very well be that. It could be that for some of you it's time to move on, and maybe that's not what you want to hear. It's never what someone wants to hear. Now, these two cards here, the Nine of Pentacles, this is all about you. The Nine of Pentacles, this is about self-confidence and feeling good about yourself, feeling good about the decisions that you're making. This is about happiness, self-reliance, just feeling good about where you are. There's something going on here where this is the energy of giving up. This is very low energy. It's the opposite of this energy. Here, something's become such a heavy burden on you that it's bringing you down. And all of these cards are screaming there's something going on in your love life that has you really emotional. There's so much going on in your head, and you feel like, you can't do this anymore. And I feel like for some of you, in order to, hold on to your self-respect, some of you may have to just kind of let go, maybe for a while, maybe for good. Hard to say in a general reading. But there's just a lot of confusing, difficult energy in this reading. Let me move on to the confirmation deck. Let's move this way. What other messages are there for the sign of Pisces for July? Knight of Wands. What other messages are there for the sign of Pisces? Queen of Cups, which would be your energy. Pisces, Four of Wands. What's the most important message this deck has for the sign of Pisces for July? Look at that, the Seven of Swords. And we just move this card because it's right under it. It's here 2 times. This is probably the most important message that you need to hear. And the Seven of Swords does represent, like I said, deceit. And you also have the moon in this reading. So there's a strong energy. What kind of deceit is going on in your love life? Is it your partner? Is it you that you don't want to see something? Because the Ten of Wands is in this reading, which usually means there's heavy draining energy. Somebody feels like they can't do this anymore. The Seven of Swords, there's something maybe you don't want to see. You're lying to yourself, or someone could be lying to you. Now, these are the 3 cards that I pulled. So your energy is here, as a water sign. Can also be your partner if they are, Cancer, Scorpio, or Pisces. There is movement around you. You have the Knight of Wands, which this is, you're eager with the Knight of Wands. This is about being really self-confident, really fired up, and you want to get what you want at any cost. And what you want is this, the Four of Wands. This is marriage. This is a card of marriage, commitment. This is a strong relationship. So for some of you, there's an energy for July where you are determined. You are determined with a capital D. You are determined to get the person that you want. Maybe you're determined to undo this. Maybe, there has been a falling out. Maybe there has been a breakup, or someone has filed for divorce. If that's the case, your energy has popped up here with you being kind of hell-bent on undoing that, on getting your partner back and getting back either your marriage or being back on track towards, a committed relationship. But remember, the Seven of Swords 2 times. There is some type of deceit here. And again, if you feel like, it's not that they're cheating or anything, then it's not that. There's no way to really, know that unless you know what's going on in your situation. It could be maybe there's something you don't want to see. Maybe you're excusing your partner's behavior, or maybe it's your own behavior. The Seven of Swords also just represents kind of sneaky energy. So for some of you, if you have your doubts about your partner, there's something that you want to look at. But again, there's just an energy of Pisces being really confused right now. Really confused, not seeing things clearly. So you want to stop and you want to think before taking action. For some of you, you could even be imagining, with the Nine of Swords, imagining that there is some deceit. Maybe that's why it keeps showing up, and maybe there isn't. Someone's just really tired here. Really fed up with the Ten of Wands. You feel like you just can't do it anymore. I wish I could say for certain, but it's hard to tell in a general reading. There's just a message you have to do what's best for you. This is about your own sanity here with the Nine of Pentacles. This is about you feeling good about where you are in your love life. And if you don't feel good about it, if you feel like it's a disaster, if you feel like there's something unhealthy, then you have to do what you have to do, because the world is saying it's time for a new cycle. But for some of you, I mean, I get the feeling that for some of you, things are not what they seem. That's the energy of the moon. Things are just an illusion. Seeing the moon and the Nine of Swords. This is worry without merit. You're worrying over something that's not even true. You know, kind of the same meaning of the moon. But then again, the moon does also represent things that are hidden from you will come to light. And it's right next to the Ace of Swords, which also means, you know, knowing the truth. Again, it's tricky to kind of say for sure when the reading is for thousands of people. But, I mean, the main energies, here they are. Something painful around you with the Three of Swords, a breakup or divorce, a really bad disagreement, time away from your partner, possibly some type of deceit, maybe coming from them, or maybe there's something that you don't want to see. Maybe you don't want to see that. Maybe it is time, you know, for some space, or it is time to move on. Okay, Pisces, this has been your love reading for July 2018. Hope you enjoyed it, and I will speak to you again next month.